Establishing healthy boundaries in new relationships. Setting boundaries in new relationships is essential to maintain mutual respect, personal autonomy, and emotional well-being. Whether it's a romantic connection or a budding friendship, clearly defined boundaries help both parties align expectations and prevent misunderstandings. Here's how to approach boundary setting effectively. 1. Understand your personal needs and limits. Before communicating boundaries to others, you need to identify your own limits. Reflect on what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable, both emotionally and physically. Ask yourself what behaviors or expectations would make you feel respected and valued, and where you need to draw the line to maintain your mental health and sense of self. Some examples include: time. How much time are you comfortable investing early on? Communication. What's your preferred frequency and style of communication? Physical and emotional intimacy. How fast are you willing to progress in terms of affection and trust? Clarity with yourself is the first step toward conveying your needs to others in a respectful way. 2. Communicate boundaries early and honestly. The earlier you communicate your boundaries, the better. Waiting too long can cause frustration and misalignment of expectations. Once you've identified your boundaries, express them calmly and clearly. Instead of assuming that others will intuitively know your needs, state them directly. For example, I like having time for myself on weekends to recharge. I prefer direct communication when we have disagreements. I need to go slow with physical intimacy until I feel comfortable. Being upfront not only builds trust, but also fosters a respectful environment where both people can feel safe to share their needs. 3. Use I statements to express your needs. When discussing boundaries, framing your thoughts with I statements helps avoid blaming the other person. This approach shifts the focus to your experience and prevents the conversation from becoming confrontational. For example, instead of saying, "You're too demanding," you can say, "I feel overwhelmed when I'm expected to respond right away." This subtle shift encourages open dialogue and makes it easier for the other person to understand your needs without feeling criticized or attacked. 4. Stay open to their boundaries too. Boundary setting is a two-way process. It's equally important to listen to the other person's boundaries and respect their needs. A new relationship flourishes when both individuals feel valued and understood. Ask about their preferences and expectations, and be willing to make adjustments where reasonable. For example, if they prefer more space, acknowledge that and balance it with your needs. If they enjoy frequent communication, discuss how you both can compromise without feeling overwhelmed. Mutual respect fosters trust and ensures that boundaries are maintained by both parties. 5. Be consistent and hold your ground. Consistency is key when establishing boundaries. Once you've set them, follow through with actions that align with your words. If you repeatedly let boundaries slide, it can create confusion and make it difficult to reinforce them later. For example, if you've expressed a need for alone time but consistently agree to last-minute plans, the other person might assume your boundary isn't firm. Holding your ground shows that you respect yourself and your needs, making it easier for others to respect them too. 6. Adjust boundaries as the relationship evolves. Boundaries are not static. They may evolve over time as trust grows and circumstances change. Periodically reassess your boundaries to see if they still serve you well. Similarly, remain open to discussing changes with the other person. If, for example, you initially needed space but now feel comfortable spending more time together, it's helpful to communicate that shift. Open communication about evolving needs helps strengthen the relationship and avoids misunderstandings. 7. Know when to walk away. Setting boundaries isn't just about communicating preferences, it's also about recognizing when a relationship isn't healthy for you. If the other person repeatedly ignores your boundaries or makes you feel guilty for expressing them, it may be a sign that the relationship isn't sustainable. Your well-being should always come first. Walking away from a relationship that disregards your boundaries is an act of self-care and empowers you to seek healthier connections in the future. In conclusion, setting boundaries in new relationships is vital for establishing respect, trust, and balance. By understanding your own needs, communicating them clearly, and staying open to the other person's boundaries, you create a foundation for healthy connections. Boundaries not only safeguard your emotional well-being but also set the stage for long-term, meaningful relationships.